My client recently made this transformation. How did he go from lean, in good shape, to shredded? Well, today he's going to tell us how, in his words, he made this transformation. Recently, he and I sat down and discussed this on camera, and I want to share this with you all. Stay tuned.
All right, what is going on, everyone? Today is a special day. My awesome client Blake here is coming on today to talk to us and tell us about his awesome transformation he made as we've worked together for about a good year now, Blake. It's coming right up on a year here, and I want this to be in his words, guys, right? Because hey. I could throw all the information at you guys, that I want. It really helps to have a real life case study, a real life person, tell you, right? Not to say that I'm not real life, but when we when we have, a real client testimonial, it helps. And Blake was super generous with his time and offered to come on and just tell us about it, in a video format. So, Blake, how are we doing today?
Good, good, good. Come to you from Nashville, Tennessee. You want me to get into my journey a little bit, my fitness journey?
Yeah, so what I was thinking for today is, like you said, we could start talking about your fitness journey, even just going back a couple years if you want to, and then we could fast forward to where we started about a year ago. So if you want to,
Okay.
Blake, I'll let you take the floor and then I'll jump in and as we go, all right?
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, Ben. So I guess I got into fitness around 15 or 16 years old, lifting weights in the gym. And for your audience of a certain age, the bodybuilding.com era, a lot of
Yes,
yeah,
yep.
misinformation, a lot of the early days of the internet, just getting in there and tons of sets, tons of reps. The tons of random supplements as well. We were kind of in the dark ages of getting the information, but I also, played basketball and baseball and tennis, and consistently worked out too. Took that into high school, college, law school, and through my 20s and 30s. And then I came to you about a year ago after, years and years of the bulking and cutting back and forth that I think a lot of people go through. It's
Right.
I'm in a bulking phase and now I feel a little too big or too puffy, or now I'm in a cutting phase and I feel too small. And what's the in between, right? And how far can I
Absolutely.
take this? So I've always been pretty good about tracking, always been pretty good about being consistent with my lifts, but I came to you to see if I could take it to the next level. And that's where our journey started about December of last year.
Yeah, and I like what you said because it's what you mentioned to me day one when we first had our first phone consultation was you're like, I want to see how far I can take this because I've made progress before. I've been doing this my whole life, right? But now I'll take it to that next step, right? And you already have that background of tracking calories, which is, it's imperative. It's step one, right? It's something we have to do when we want to, whether we want to gain some muscle, lose some body fat, it all comes down to our caloric intake, right, Blake?
Right.
So once we get that dialed in, now enters the next steps of making adjustments, even the psychological aspects of this process, which, like as a coach is something I put a lot of emphasis on because it's very real, right? It's not
Sure.
just X's and O's all the time. Oh, here are your macros, do it, right? Yes, of course, to an extent that must be, you know, followed, right? But there's so much more to it, right? So anyway, I do digress a little bit. But when we fast forward to we started last year, from that point, Blake, you've dropped about 20 pounds, right? And you were already lean and in for quote unquote good shape, right? Because it's gonna mean different things to different people, right? Everyone's a different starting point, but you're like, Ben, I want to take this to the next level and just see how good of a shape I could get in this year.
Yeah, I was probably so in 2024, I had bulked up to about the biggest I had been in a while. Again, for your audience, I'm about 6 feet 5'11", and I had bulked
You could
up
round
to
up.
about 182, 183 from lifting heavy, eating well. I'm rarely off plan when it comes to clean foods. I've just kind of naturally just been I've gone towards, your lean meats and rice and sweet potatoes and cottage cheese, whey protein type person.
Right.
But kind of went maybe a little too far with that. And I think the one thing that I really noticed throughout the whole process, and it's that I didn't have as much muscle as I thought, and maybe didn't have, and had more fat than I thought too, right?
Hmm.
And so again, it's all relative to what you see in yourself, right? And how you
Of
compare
course, yeah.
yourself to your previous versions of yourself. So then I had, before we met, I had cut down to about 170, then about 165. And then I believe the first day of my photos to you, I was about 160 with a 32-inch waist, I believe, where
Yeah.
we started. And so, and again, in the past, I had thought maybe there was a little bit of a fat blindness or muscle blindness there. I had thought that about 160 was just absolutely shredded for me. And it was very lean, it was very muscular, healthy. But to take it to that next level, I had no idea that it would have to take me into the 140s.
Yeah, and that's where we ended up for everyone watching. It's funny. We talk every other week on a call, right? Because we touch base and we go from there. And it's it's easy for me to assume, oh, everyone knows where we started and we ended. Where we're at now, where Blake ended up, mid 140s. We've seen improvements in the measurements and of course the physical changes. It cannot be denied, right? With that appearance, that mirror look that we're going for, that 8-10% body fat look, that we're going for, it has been achieved, right? So Blake has done a really good job, of getting to that point. But in your words, Blake, during the past year, during we had a dieting phase initially, we had a slight reverse diet phase to bring those calories up to maintain, to build a little muscle. And then we had another cutting phase leading to where we are now, right? At the end of this phase,
Mhm.
in your words, what led to your success? Whether it's habit changes or accountability or tracking things closer, things in the gym, like all those sort of things. Just in your words, where have you seen those progressions?
Yeah, for me personally, and where I'm at, just in my, how I integrate fitness and nutrition into my life generally, it was accountability, right? And it was having a deadline. So the first deadline that we had from December to the first part of March, or the second week of March
Right.
of 2025, was a vacation. And I had cut down, I believe, from 160 to about 153 for all the metrics nerds in your audience. And again, it's about 5'11". So I knew that I wanted to get to that level. And then I knew that I wanted to take a week of maybe, maintenance, enjoying myself a little bit, and then come
Sure.
back to it, have another muscle building phase. So it's having those deadlines in there, having an idea of what you want to look like is really
Right.
helpful too, where it's those days where you don't want to track. I talk to so many people. Again, I'm not an expert here. I don't have a background in this, but I do help people because they know that I go through it. Say, well, what should I do? Well, I want to lose 5 pounds. It's like, well, you need to have a deadline. You've got to have a plan, right? What can be tracked and measured, right? And so having that tracked and measured, it was so important to me because if I said, oh, I want to be at, I believe we wanted to be about 153 by March 15th, March 16th. And I
Right.
knew I had to be there. And I knew I wanted to take it slow as well. No crash dieting, no just completely cutting carbs, like all the things that I think we know now. But again, the fitness industry gets so confused. But to basics and taking it slow and having accountability.
I love that you touch on the deadline part, Blake. It's so pivotal, right, to making that transformation because otherwise it could be easy to go, oh, okay, day one, I'm all gung ho, ready to go. Let's get it. When do we finish? Oh, I don't know. I'm just gonna get in shape. Hey, that's not going to end well, right? Because maybe you could do it for 21, 28 days,
Yeah.
90 days even, right? But if you're doing something really hard, really extreme, like you mentioned, like keto or something, if it works, it works. The best diet is one you could stick to. But when you take an approach like that, you just get sick of it after a while, right? You're like, you know what? Why am I doing this to myself? Yeah, I'm making some progress. I don't feel good. I can't do anything. I can't go out on the weekend, right? But no, you're like, no, I have this. I want to go on this vacation in March. So in December, I want to think about what I need to do now to get, more shredded than I ever have been before for that trip, right? And from there, we dialed up the plan. We made the necessary changes along the way, right? As your coach was able to review all the data and from your check-ins go, oh, okay, we made progressions here, or maybe this stalled out, whatever, right? And we adjusted things there. But you stuck to the plan, right? You made no excuses. I was looking through your food logs every week. It's just status quo. You often report that your check-ins, everything status quo, nutrition, training, cardio. You made it happen, right? There's even times like, and I do love this. I love this quote unquote problem that had to reel you back in because you're like, oh, I want to do some more, want to do some more cardio, some more steps, that
Oh
sort of
yeah.
thing. But I was like, you know what? Let's do less, Blake, because what we're doing is working. Why fix what ain't broke, right? And it's really led to great progressions, right? But that deadline on top of accountability, it's gonna it's paramount, right? It's so important.
Yeah. And for your audience too, again, I think it's just by virtue of my job, I manage people for a living and I work remotely. So just stamina has always been a good genetic trait of mine. It's easy for me to get 20 or 25,000 steps in a day. Taking my work phone out, taking my calls while walking around before and after work when the weather's nice here in Nashville, like it's easy for me. But to pull that back, that's harder for me than honestly than
Yeah.
not eating too much. It's weird how our genetics and hormones vary person to person.
Right. Yeah, and there was times I had to go, Blake, you know what? Let's just focus on the recovery. Like, you want to go golfing on the weekend? Like, go golfing or just chill at home. Go to bed a little bit earlier, get some
Rest days are
extra sleep.
super hard for me. I tried to
Yeah.
do absolutely nothing on Sunday and it was about impossible. I made it to about 10 o'clock. I can't
There
just
you go.
outrun.
Yeah, yeah. And it's good, of course, to be chomping at the bit wanting to do more. But sometimes like, you know what? If what we're doing is working and I'm 100% consistent, firstly with my nutrition, my calorie targets, and then my training and my cardio, well, the next part is recovery,
Yeah.
right? And those are all top tier, and it's great to see where you're at now. And since you've reached your goal, Blake, that look we're going for, we'll put some pictures over the screen, right? And you're super gracious, allow me to post that so we can see a side by side and just so everyone can celebrate what you've been able to accomplish, right? And now we're going to focus on that reverse diet to maintain your awesome progress, right? I mean, even at the depths of this cut, I mean, for the majority of it, you have your daily steps and you get plenty of daily steps. We're doing
Mhm.
15 minutes of cardio 5 days a week and then 25 at the end. Those just a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
15 minutes for when we started this current dieting phase for everyone watching, the end of June. It's the end of October as we film this. So now we're going to focus on the reverse, bring those calories up, bring cardio down with the purpose, like I said, to maintain your progress, right?
Mhm.
So that maybe we're not super duper hungry all the time, but I'm sure at the end of a meal, you're left wanting a little bit more, right? It's like, okay, I probably could eat a little bit more, right? This way it's going to help you stick to the plan. It's going to help you stick to whether you prefer to track everything 100% or you'd like to use the intuitive approach of taking the principles you already learned, going, oh, well, if I usually have a lean protein source and it helped me draw body weight, well, maybe I'm still having that lean protein source, but I'm having more of it. If I'm used to having rice, maybe I'm having more rice at a meal, right? Just more calories from these quality foods, more volume. It's going to bring those hunger levels down, increase
Mhm.
energy. It's going to allow you to build muscle during this phase, right? Because if you go, hey, if I'm super lean at 145 or whatever, right? And of course, numbers are all arbitrary, but you're like, you know what? I want to do a low game with myself here. Maybe I could try to get to this look at 150, right? And that happens through an improvement phase, right? And you're at that point where you have all this data to work off of and build from, right? So cut hard, right? And then reverse just as hard with the same discipline. I think that's super important. And to have that goal go, okay, why am I doing this reverse? Oh, it's because of this. Okay, I need to have the same discipline. and it's important to know that.
I agree, and I think that's one of the benefits of coming to you is that the reverse can be just as hard or harder for somebody like me than the cut, right? So the cut, it's like you're staying in a deficit, you're getting your cardio in, you're still lifting hard in the gym.
Right.
Sometimes in the past, well, no, every time in the past, when I've come out of a cut, it's time to bulk again. And you go way too far into the calories. So learning how to do that, I'm excited for that part of the process as well.
Yeah.
You do it
Yeah.
right.
And there's times where I'm like, you know what? The reverse diet, it's maybe we should just throw that name out the window. It's a health phase. It's a maintenance phase, right? We're just trying to get those calories up to reach your new maintenance. And if you go, oh, okay, I'm finding that my weight is sustaining. Maybe I'm slightly gaining weight at this higher intake after you just gradual walk up in calories. Wait, that's your new maintenance, and you could chill out there. That's much better than chilling out at, for example, 1,800 calories. Maybe we're at 2,300 calories and just daily steps. You like to move around. I mentioned in your last check-in feedback video that in a few weeks' time, you could remove all cardio and just start tapering it down and bring it down to just daily steps.
I'll do my best.
Yeah, there you go, right? And it's more time you can spend in the gym, lifting, right? It's more time
There
you
you
do
go.
your food prep, right? Or more time to recover, right? Those little things, and you're in a good spot to do that, you know? And you've got to a place where you've gotten a lot leaner than most people will. So you have all this data to work off of, right? And all this muscle memory, from going through the process, that's really helped you and
I
there's a
think
lot of
so.
psychological work too that goes there as well. And yeah, go ahead and jump in there, Blake. I
Yeah,
know.
no, I think it was really interesting to shed it all off and to, as somebody who loves data, I love data in my work life and in the gym and nutrition, to really shred it off to see how much muscle or lean mass I have, lean tissue I have. So now I know what I've got going into it and how much I can add on, and then for future cuts, like
Yeah.
where I want to be. So to really see how those changes are over the years, how much muscle I can add, and then how much fat I can take off over time. Because again, in March, it was tough for me to get to 152 or 153.
Yeah.
Now, like I'm not even close to there right now, and it really doesn't feel like a lot of hard work just because I've taken the time to get there.
Right. Yep. And now that you're there, it's a lot easier to sustain it, right?
Oh yeah,
Because you never did anything that was, super over the top, crazy hard. We talked about the crash dieting and that sort of thing.
right.
No, it's just sticking to the plan, sticking with what works, giving it time,
Yep,
right? And now you're like, okay, I feel like I'm empowered, right? I have all the tools to be successful going forward, right?
yeah.
That way, if you're nutrition, yes, you can work in a free meal and that sort of thing. Of course, as you go through the reverse dieting process. But the majority of the time, you still want to be eating, is having the same structure to your days, yeah, you've had during this process,
And
right?
that's something I'm looking forward to, right? Maybe once a week going out and getting a cheeseburger or, 12
Right.
crumble cookies or, something like that. Probably not that. Maybe more so the cheeseburger thing.
Yeah, there you go, right? But
Or if I do, I just won't track it and so you won't know about it. So there you
that's
go.
exactly right.
Our little
That's when
secret.
hey, as a coach, I can read in between the lines all the time, so I know I could
Okay.
sense it, Blake. Though I'm
Okay.
joking
Fair
about that,
enough. Fair enough. Can't
but
pull one
hey,
over on you.
yeah, but hey, why can't we have two pieces of pizza and a Diet Coke and a cannoli on
Yeah.
Saturday afternoon with the family,
Sounds
right?
pretty good.
We're not eating the whole pizza, right? It's just a different food that we don't normally have. And then after that lunch meal, like, hey, maybe at night you're having 250 grams of rice and 8 ounces of chicken breast and a vegetable, right? And now you had a day where you're not super hungry, you enjoyed something different. Maybe it was an untracked day, but it was still structured. And you have the ability to do this well
Yeah.
because you've gone through all of this process now, right? So this way you don't have to feel super restricted and you'll be fine, right?
That's the plan.
Yeah, absolutely. Blake, is there anything that, as we wrap up here in a few, that anyone starting off on a fat loss journey, let's say they've been in and out of the gym a few years, right? They have some muscle, but they're like, I want to make a change. I want to get leaner than I have before. I want to move better. I want to, fit in clothes better, even want to improve my health, like what are some key steps that you just found for yourself, that you think for others is just super important that they must do and must know of and that sort of thing as they get started here?
Yeah, so as cliche as it sounds, especially on YouTube, keeping it simple, right? So no fads, single ingredient foods, moving around, lifting weights with compound lifts, progressing in the gym and keeping notes, right? Maybe that was the one thing that if I have any fitness regrets, I know a lot of people have trouble, with, the mental side of tracking their weight or tracking their calories and something like MyFitnessPal. But if you're not tracking your progression in the gym, I don't think you're going to get the results that you want. I don't know if that's backed in science, but it's something that I have definitely seen has changed what I want to do in the gym, right? So it's not just going into the gym and saying, well, I lifted I thought it was a chest day. It's having a program and then progressing in that. And that's what I fought back against for years. I'm like, I'm in shape. Like I go lift weights. It's like, what did you do? It's like I did chest Tuesday and then whatever. And I did that. So I would assume other people are doing that. But if you're not even to the gym part, start with walking, start with single ingredient foods, start with getting better sleep. Like it's just be a little bit better than you were yesterday.
I love that. It's all you in so many words. You said have some structure, right? And teach yourself the basics. And I love that you talked about training there, tracking your workouts. And on my desk here, I do have my workout log. Like I use just a good old
Yep.
notebook, right? Like that we go, oh, I did a set, I got 6 reps. Okay, next time I'm gonna try to do 7, right? This way you're progressing. It's a difference between exercise and training, right? And that's super important. So, man,
And you're
really,
already going to be playing on your phone anyway between sets, so you
that's
might as well
absolutely right.
be on the Notes app tracking it, right?
That's absolutely right. Instead of scrolling Instagram or looking for that perfect song, hey, track that workout as well,
That's
right?
right.
So, yeah, any final things you wanted to add, Blake? Sure, didn't want to cut you off, before you had put it all out there, everything you wanted to go
No,
over.
it's all good. Just
Okay.
be consistent, work hard, don't get too down on yourself, and you'll see progress and changes.
Love that advice. Yep, nobody's perfect, but anyone can be super dedicated to a plan if you have the plan, and then you got to have that discipline like Blake here, and you can get it done, right? So, hey, thanks everyone for watching. If you are interested in coaching, you know what to do. Just hit me up. Ben@prophecy.com is my email. You can also find me on Instagram, all that places, those places. I'll put the links and whatever on the screen below, all that good stuff. But Blake, really appreciate your time and wish you the best on your next phase of your journey here.
Awesome. Thanks, Ben.
Absolutely.
I hope you enjoyed Blake and I's interview. It's been simply incredible seeing how he has been able to transform his physique. Like he said, the principles of healthy nutrition have allowed him to do this, structuring meals with single ingredient foods, making this a lifestyle by tracking his intake, yet making his foods, his meals enjoyable to eat, making them palatable, making regular cardio and weight training a part of his routine, continuing with that, focusing on progression in the gym. Like these are all things that have helped Blake make this, again, incredible transformation. If you are looking for one-on-one coaching as we enter the new year, send me a message at ben@prophysique.com and we can set up a no-cost consultation call at a time convenient for you. And we can discuss your goals, your situation, and then the game plan moving forward. Bye now.